Hi everyone, very good evening. So let's start with this is going to be a pure introduction to machine learning, that too specific with Mahout. And apart from that, if you have any queries regarding the course and the details and the course start date, all those things, you can always reach out to the support team. So it's purely a technical session. So raise as much as question and make it interactive so that you get all your doubts clarified. Okay. Okay. So how this class usually works? Okay, it's going to be a live online class, and after the classes, what the class you are attending, the same class recording which will be available in the LMS in 24 hours. And there is a 24 hours support which is available, which is provided by the support team, where at any point in time it's not only diverting the support queries to the instructor as well as the support team will be handling all your queries in respect to technical as well. And module wise, we have a quiz where in between of each and every stages of the course, we have a quiz which helps you to recollect what you have learned. And finally, we have a real-time project work which is on the large data set, which will be taking that large data set and will be working on the project. So this will be at the end of the course completion, and then finally where the certificate will be provided by Edureka, which is verifiable, and where you can use that and you can place that in your curriculum as well. Okay, so that's how the course works. And the main objective of the course is where we're learning machine learning, and specifically which is an high demand skill in the current market and one of the highly paid skills as well. Okay, where the machine learning is we have various kinds of technology to process the analytics and machine learning, but that too specifically Mahout. Since already Hadoop is huge demand in the market, where people who are already aware of Hadoop and have been working with Hadoop, the added advantage, you'll have a very big added advantage when you are expertise with Mahout. And we'll be more dealing with the three pillars of machine learning, which will be clustering, classification, and recommendations. And where we also learn how we interact with Mahout with the Hadoop and as well as with the Hadoop. So both local mode as well as with the distributed mode will be seen, and how we join a lot of jobs together to make a very good starting point for data cleansing and till to the analytics level. Okay, and finally we will be learning with the classification, that too with the specific with the Twitter data, which is highly required and very demanding skills in the current market. Okay. Fine. First of all, why I need to learn machine learning? I am already an expertise with big data, and I'm working with Hadoop, MapReduce, and I pick all those things. What additional skills which it going to give me, and as well as how far it benefits me in my career. Okay. As such, what all you have learned already with Hadoop and people not aware of Hadoop as well. So Hadoop is going to be a kind of a ELT tool, which is like a extract, load, and then transform, where you write everything with a MapReduce and then cleanse the data and store the data, where it's going to be a central data repository kind of a mechanism where you only process the data and have the data ready for the next step. So only by projecting yourself as a kind of a ELT resource, I know Hadoop, so that it is having a lot of people now. It's available in the market where they work with Hadoop and where it's like a normal routine work you'll be doing. When you add a machine learning that to specific with the statistics knowledge, little statistics knowledge is highly enough for you to learn machine learning. You don't need to be a master like a PhD statistics or MSc statistics. You don't need to be like that. With the basic statistics knowledge and as well as with the added advantage of Mahout and plus Hadoop skills, definitely you will be the one among the top needed persons in the current market. Okay, and the combination of these skills is where highly required in the current market rather than only having a Hadoop skills. So in this machine learning, what we are trying to identify, what is machine learning, where people, they may be new to certain terms of machine learning, people who already been aware of hearing analytics, predictive analytics, all those things. So machine learning is something where we derive a kind of insights out of the data, okay, where we make a machine to learn on its own and act as a replacement for a human being and reduces the human effort. So for example, the robotics and a lot of companies which have a sensors, eye sensors, Aadhaar card, so biometrics, weather identification, weather forecasting, any kind of activity where a human being does. For example, if I show to you certain color, so your brain will identify that color. So how the brain identifies the color? It is because of past the brain has learned something in its past and it has certain parameters saying if this is the kind of a parameters, it belongs to this color. So it has learned something previously. Based on that learning, it is going to act upon as a kind of a new identification. So that is the machine learning. Your brain is a machine learning. So making a similar type of your human brain to an algorithm programmatically and making it to work like a human being in place of human being, definitely it is going to solve the time and human resource and as well as accuracy. Okay. So as a human being, you can do one or two works, but it is very difficult for you to calculate a lot of numbers. You need a calculator. Similarly, if I give you certain repetitive jobs, you will not be happy and it is a time consuming and there will be a lot of human errors. So we make and we replicate a human being kind of a brain using an algorithm and making it to operate. That's why it's called machine learning. There's a huge difference between the predictive analytics and the machine learning, where the machine learning is going to be based on the learning what it is going to do, but predictive analytics, it's not. It is based upon the numerical figures what it's going to forecast for future. So that's the difference. Okay, so why first of all are these technologies are not available? Are we not doing machine learning previously? Is it something new which we are trying to do in the current market? No. The machine learning has been there from long time. It's not the one we are trying to do recently. But with the evaluation of big data, so what happens, huge volume of a data which is residing in the HDFS, that is the Hadoop, okay, and I want to do some analysis on the data specifically in terms of clustering, classification, and recommendations. We'll see all those things shortly. Okay. So we have a huge volume of data. I need some kind of a distributed, scalable algorithm to process the data similar like MapReduce, and I want to arrive an analysis and analytics out of that particular data. Where when I have a terabyte of a data and I have to get insights out of the data, when I say insights, it's going to be some hidden information wherein human being cannot identify those by seeing the data. It is something with correlating with a lot of other factors which is available in the data, okay, and arriving a kinds of insight out of the data with a huge volume. So for that, the only tool currently available to achieve those things is going to be Mahout. It's an open source framework distributed scalable machine learning algorithm which operates in a distributed way of processing all across the nodes of Hadoop and then brings some insight out of the data and helps the business to take an instant and quick decisions out of the analysis. So for that, that's where we have a huge challenge when we deal with a huge volume of data on top of it if you want to do the machine learning. So that's where we go for Mahout. What are the classic examples which we see day-to-day life correlated with machine learning? The biggest and the very famous example is going to be the retail websites, the Flipkarts, Snapdeal, Amazon, and any retail website, online stores. If you go, when you try to purchase any product, it tries to recommend you certain things, and that recommendations will be meaningful, and that is what you're looking for. Okay, so for example, if I'm trying to book a ticket from Chennai to Bangalore, okay, and I don't purchase the ticket, I immediately close off the browser and I come out of the browser. Then if I open my browser, if it shows fly to US from Chennai at this lowest rate, which will not be meaningful for me because I'm not looking for traveling from Chennai to US. I'm looking for Chennai to Bangalore. What kind of a recommendation it gives you, offers? It says travel from Chennai to Bangalore with a flat of 10% or 20%, which is very much meaningful to you and to the right person recommending the right things. So that is the biggest market in the current industry, specific to retail or any industry. Recommendation is highly required. Not only with the retail industry, if you go to any shopping centers, for example, if you go to Chroma or Reliance or any kind of a electronic shop, you will be intended or you will be thought to buy a product 1,000, but you will be end up buying a product of 40K while you're returning back. So what happens, right? Your intention is to buy 25K of a product, but the marketing guy will do a cross-sell, okay, of a product, and then he will say this features are added, which is added with this another features of a TV, which is little bit cost when compared to what you're already looking for, but it's worth buying that because of the features. Then your mind will be tend to buy the product which what he tries to market to you. And where it recommends a relevant product together, which is a combo offer, or which is an offer for you to, for an end customer to buy, which is tending to buy, which feels that's a need. Collective of this product, definitely it helps me, or it's my need, which I get with a low cost. So all this going to come under the recommendation, but the people who work towards recommendation will bring new dimension to the data sets so that it increases the revenue to the organization and as well as brings more sale to the organization. So that is one of the key activity of machine learning, which is very popular in the current market, how different you are trying to bring the recommendations to the audience. Then the most wanted machine learning algorithm is going to be classifying. When I say classify, categorizing it. As a human being, we categorize certain things. For example, place this kind of a files in certain directories, and we classify based on our priority all the things. Similarly, as a email system where we have a lot of junks which is flowing with unnecessary data, unnecessary emails which has been flowing on to your email. But if you notice all the emails, some of the emails which is of threat or which is identified by a spam will go to spam directly. So that is a purely of classification, how that has been done. Take the examples what I said initially of identifying a color which your brain already knows it because it has learned previously. Similarly, a classification works in the same way of based on past history data set. Based on what it learned previously, based on the generalization of data. Whenever you want to make an algorithm to learn on its own, the data should be generalized. When I say the data should be generalized, for example, so take this one, 18 male, and you have a pin code, and you have an address, so likewise, what happens when you have a different sets of a data, the algorithm cannot learn on its own because this is specific to Krishna, this is specific to X, this is specific to Y, this is specific to Z. So when you have any set of a data and you want to identify what is the characteristic of that person. For example, you have a and what will be the characteristics of the person? Is a good person or a bad person? if you want to identify, it cannot identify, because the data what you are making the algorithm to learn, it's not a generalization of data, it is unique to respective person. So you have to make the data should be unique, not unique, as a generation of data, so that the algorithm learns on its own. It is not a conditional based learning. It is not like if this is contains of this, or else if this, not conditional based. It is generalization of learning. When we want to make this, we have to bring this age into a range of age. Say 15 to 20, and remove the pin code, have the location only, okay, and remove the name. So when you make the age as a generalized statement of a range, from this range to this range, any people of this category, and this is a characteristic, so they will be termed as a good person. Similarly, you will have a generalization of a data, so that any new data comes, it can easily classify that particular data. The classification is based on the learning what it has been doing previously based on the past history state. So this is going to be a past record, and this is going to be the new data incoming. So already we have an input and output. So now we have an input, but we want to predict the output. The output will be predicted based on the past learning, which it has did based on the past history record. So that is going to be the classification. Okay. Similarly, the another main wing of machine learning is going to be the clustering. For example, we have a pizza example, okay, wants to open some stores in California, and the center should be planned in such a way the distance between the stores and the delivery point remains minimum. So that's a kind of a analysis we have to find out. So to do that, we take the Pizza Hut, as a pizza shop data, and as I mentioned before, all the machine learning algorithm is designed in such a way it learns based on the generalization of a data. So we take this pizza data and find out how we are going to arrive the clustering out of the data set to find out the distance between the delivery shop and the store should be, delivery location and the store should be minimal. So as I mentioned before, where we have three sets of algorithm, which is recommendation, classification, and clustering. And that three things is further divided into two major pillars, which is called supervised and unsupervised. When I say supervised, the same brain example you can take it. It is based on the past history learning. It supervises itself based on the past data what you feed and learns on its own and predicts the future incoming output based on the learning what it had made. When I say unsupervised learning, where you don't have a past history record set, which means, for example, I give you 1 million set of a document and I am asking you to find out how many groups of documents which is available. But you don't have a past history record saying if the document contains these things, that belongs to this group. No, you don't have a past history data set. So what you make the system is asking the system, give me the number of groups of document can be found. The system analyzes all the documents and groups all the documents which are similar in nature based upon the centroid theorem. When I say centroid theorem, it calculates, for example, so it calculates like this. So we have x-axis and we have y-axis. So we have a lot of documents which shares x and y points. So when you ask to group, so it randomly places a centroid and then calculates the distance between the centroid and the document. So whichever the document which is closest, it will try to group. If it is not finding the minimal number of documents to be grouped, it will reposition the centroid to the another point and it will try to group. So then it finds out the number of groups of documents which is available. So this is group 1 and this is group 2, which gives you an insights for you to understand how many similar characteristics of document which is present, so that the outcome of this will be input and you will get an output of the group number that you can use for further for classification for future incoming data. So this 3 things is highly required, and when you build your skills on all these 3 things, then you are highly required for the current market. Okay. So this 3 things is what we are going to see in our entire class with the detailed examples and with a lot of practicals. The supervised learning is something you train based on the past history set and then making the system to learn and work for you for the future incoming data and predict the outcome. The unsupervised learning, where the clustering falls under the unsupervised learning, it is to only when you have an output, when you have an input and you don't have an output and you don't have an history record set, and still you want to utilize the machine learning capability to find out grouping or clubbing or clustering, all these things, segmentation of the documents or people, anything where you don't have a past history record set, then you can go for unsupervised learning. For example, how this works. In a room, I have a group of people who's there in the room. Say for example 100 people are there. First I ask you to tell me how many groups of people is available. What will be the first thing will be striking your mind? The question is, tell me how many groups of people is available. But I don't have a past set telling if this person belongs to this means he belongs to group 1. No, I don't have a past history record set. And if the person his salary is this range of and is located in this particular location of Bangalore where he belongs to the upper middle class family, I don't have any data set. The first thing which will come to my mind of grouping, I group on 2 things. One is male and female. That is my first similarity where I can group the people. So that is called clustering, where grouping based upon the similar in nature and the distance between one person and the other person is very small. So I group together and arrive at a conclusion saying as a result of 2 kinds of groups of people which is available. Then further that I divide my male and female and then I do my analysis to arrive the outcome for business needs. So that is called unsupervised learning. Okay. Okay. So I have a lot of, I see a lot of questions which has been coming. Please post your question as and when you feel. I'll be answering up all those things. Okay. So then we have a very nice examples of a YouTube where when you go for YouTube, and I'm located in India and I look for Tamil movies. Okay. So I watch Tamil movies, but the right hand side, if I go and recommend a Korean movie or a Korean video, definitely it's not make sense for the user who is viewing. It's recommending based on what you're seeing, which is called item recommendation. The item which is very similar in nature, I'm going to recommend to you, which you feel or which might be you might be interested. When I buy a LED TV, if I go and recommend a refrigerator or washing machine, will that make sense? No, because 2 products are of not of same category. There might be a category of electronics, but not of item similarity, which will be useful for the end customer. So in that situation, if I recommend a stabilizer or DVD player, definitely that will be helpful for the customer. So I have to group the items which is of similar in nature and can be clubbed together while selling. So that is called recommendation. That is called item recommendation. For example, I like certain product and another user called X likes certain products, and we both are similar in age and similar in taste. I can recommend my product of taste to other user of X. X taste I can recommend to Krishna. So it's called user-based recommendation. Based on user taste and user similar in nature, I recommend certain products. But at the same time, I cannot recommend Krishna taste or compare Krishna taste with the person who is located in US, which is cross-geographical, which will not add any value to the user-based recommendation. So there is two pillars of recommendation. One is going to be user-based recommendation. The other is going to be item-based recommendation, which brings a different sets of value for recommendation altogether. And also based on what item you're purchasing, the relevant item which will be very much needed for the product which you're already purchasing, I have to recommend. Then only it makes meaningful and I can target the audience to buy the product which I recommend. Okay, so that's where the YouTube recommendations. Similarly, we have seen the classifications, okay, where classification of email and as well any news which is coming in future based on the previous grouping, based on the news comes. So when the news says Sachin joins politics, okay, and he became the MP, okay, so that's going to be politics group. So that particular news, based on the nature of the content what it present, it's going to apply a text mining, and then followed by that it is going to classify based on the past learning what are the key terms if it contains and what are the context. Then I can classify whether the news belongs to politics or sports or education, whatever. Okay, it classifies based on the past learning what it did previously. So that's how the Google classification of a news which works. Similarly, clustering. So again, it's a clustering where we group the data based upon the similar in nature and as well as based upon the centroid theorem. Okay. So as we discussed, so these three things will be concentrating more: recommendation, classification, and clustering. So classify the machine learning example into recommendation, classification, and clustering. Okay. So this belongs to recommendation and this belongs to classification, where we have a pizza example which is going to be the clustering. Okay, where we group a set of pizza stores together and find out which kind of based on the distance, where if we place the pizza store, the distance between the stores and as well as the delivery point will be minimal. So these three wings will be spending more of our time during our course. Okay, so what are the things we are going to learn in our class? So we are going to learn recommendation, both user-based recommendation, item-based recommendation, and user plus item-based recommendation. And under classification, we are going to learn Navy bias algorithm, Markov models, logistic regression, and random forest. And under clustering, we are going to have a k-means clustering, fuzzy clustering, hierarchical clustering, and canopy clustering. So all these things we'll be studying during our class. So now, so coming to the clustering examples, what we have seen, the pizza example, okay, just consider which talks about the pizza at delivery point. We can provide a solution by using this k-means clustering. K-means is a one part of algorithm under the pillar of clustering. Okay. So now we'll start with the k-mean. So just it's a kind of an intro for you. So we don't need to get into the details of the algorithm. That we'll be doing during our class. Okay. So what happens, as I said, at this point in time, where it makes a centroid, from there it calculates the distance between the centroid and the points and finds out which is the minimal distance. It tries to groups together. So that's how the clustering works. So when we have the delivery location for pizza, so first we make or group the delivery locations. So we need three delivery locations, three things, okay, three clusters, three groups of records or data we acquire. So then we find out the distance between the centroid and the delivery points. If the grouping is not sufficient and it's not the closest distance we are not finding, we reposition the centroid to the nearest point and we'll try to group them together. So now I repositioned the C1, C2 and C3 to optimize the distance between the cluster centroid points and the data points. Then again I find the distance between but you don't need to do anything manually. The algorithm takes care of it. The thing is like you have to study the inferential statistics. The outcome of this Mahout algorithm, where you have to inference out of it to find out what we are getting is right or wrong. So once we find out, and then we group the similar sets of data which is having a distance very less and which shares a similar characteristics of a data, then we go and group together. So if you look at, there is C1 which has almost 5 delivery points, and C3 has 3 points, and C3 has almost 5 points. So this is going to be the clustering where we group the similar kinds of a data which says a common set of informations. But the one point you have to be very clear, where I don't have a past history record set which has both input and output. So in that case only you have to go for clustering. When you have a past history record set which has an input and output, you can directly go into classification modes. Then how well we are going to integrate with Mahout and Hadoop. So by default, Mahout has a mechanism of converting all the scripts into MapReduce and runs on top of the data which sits on the data nodes of Hadoop cluster. So when we want to bring the data into Hadoop layer, we already been aware. So people who's already aware with Hadoop or not, okay, we have a mechanism of bringing the data locally and then loading to Hadoop, and as well as from different sources of RDBMS where we can bring the data. Similarly, when you have a data with a social media or from a unstructured from different storage levels, where you can bring the data set into Hadoop. Once it brings the data set to Hadoop, where you have to apply your machine learning analytics on this data sets to arrive an insight out of it. So you write in the way what you want in Mahout. Internally, the Mahout converts into a MapReduce framework and executes on top of the data which sits in HDFS, and then finally it brings you an instant insights out of the data. Okay. So Mahout is an open source. It's not a GUI or a product where you can install the product with a single click. You can go and complete whatever you want. No, it is a framework, and it comes with a pre-built certain algorithms like clustering, classification, and recommendation. And the algorithm what we have seen previous slides, those are the algorithm which comes with Mahout, where you can take it and you can customize based on your need, or if you feel you want to add certain algorithm for research purposes, you can do it well with Mahout. Because the pre-built component which is required for you to build the machine learning and analytics which is already there, it's either you can use the algorithm which is already available or you can build your own algorithm. That's the key of Mahout. So this level of customization even with R and SAS is very less when compared to Mahout. So under recommendations, we'll be spending more time on user-based collaborative filtering, that's the user-based recommendation, and item-based recommendation. How well we use a matrix factorization to improve the performance of recommendation, and as well as we will be seeing weighted matrix factorization and singular value decomposition and stochastic gradient descent we'll be seeing. And similarly for classification, we'll see logistic regression, Navy bias, random forest, and Markov model, and further multi-level classifications we'll see. In clustering, we'll be spending time on canopy clustering, k-means clustering, fuzzy clustering, streaming k-means, spectral clustering. All those things we'll be seeing in our class. Okay. And so these are some of the addition components we'll be touch base on these things, where singular value decomposition and Luntz algorithm and SPD and the principal component analysis. And we also spend time on the topic modeling of when you do a clustering, how will you assign a topic to the documents or any data. You'll be seeing all those things. And out of this recommendation, clustering, and classification, we'll also spend time in understanding the market basket analysis, which is a medium of understanding what are the product which is purchased together in a basket at a single point of transaction, and how frequent other customer are purchased, so that which helps the business to understand which of the products can be grouped together, so that when I promote one product, which internally will sell another product. It is by nature, whenever you buy a milk, you buy a biscuit, bread all together, which is a combination of product which always you buy together. So wherever I have a milk, close to that milk, I place the biscuits, bread all together. So I promote only for milk. Internally, it will sell my biscuits and bread all together. So that's an indirect way of selling the product and make a more revenue with less investment on promotions. So that's called frequent pattern mining, which is also called as market basket analysis, which we'll be seeing during our class. Okay. And then we'll be working on the projects where we have a different sets of a project, and out of which we have a classification on the Twitter dataset. So which will spend time on the course at the final session, where this will be a project. This is one of the project where we have a multiple projects which is available based on the interest and based on the factors we choose which project we need to work, and finally you will be completing those projects. Okay, this is a high level medium of how you handle a project with Mahout. Okay, where you apply the Mahout algorithm on top of this purely an unstructured data sets and converting into a medium of structured, then you apply the machine learning algorithm on top of it. So in this case, we'll be applying the classification algorithm, and finally, after we build the classification algorithm, future if any tweet comes, it automatically identifies what category a tweet belongs to. Got it? So this is the job trends from Indeed.com for Mahout, that too specifically for machine learning with Mahout. Okay, where it's a huge demand in market. Okay, so now we'll come back to the questions. So I'll go one by one. Okay. For learning this course and working in the field, how much statistics and R programming is required? So where we are going to deal with Mahout and we are not going to see R programming. So as I mentioned before, a minimal basic statistics knowledge and refresh your statistics knowledge, what you learned in your college and school, that is sufficient. And on top of it, I'll suggest you a few more topics on statistics which will help you to promote yourself with statistics plus machine learning. Okay, so which is not equivalent, you don't need to learn equivalent to PhD statistics or MSc statistics. Minimal knowledge is highly enough for you to work with Mahout. Does it mean adding parallel artificial intelligence to machine? Yes, it's an artificial intelligent mechanism you will be giving to not to machine, to an algorithm. Okay. Yes. So we can use IBM Big Insights to arrive an example. Yes. So there are a lot of things are available, but more than the kind of a enterprise solution ready, people are more interested on adopting and customization with open source stacks. So that's the reason the Mahout is highly demanding skills. Fine, Vishwanath. I work in MSBI too, like SSAS and SSIS new to Hadoop. Is this course for me? What are the prerequisites for this course? Okay. So the prerequisite for the course is going to be Hadoop, but there is a prerequisite essentials for Hadoop which is available in the LMS when you opt for the Mahout course, and as well as we will be covering the Hadoop as well in this course. It's a kind of a mechanism for you to get how well the Hadoop is working, how to start working with Hadoop. Apart from that, to build your expertise on Hadoop as well, there is a essentials videos which will be available for Mahout course users. How does Mahout handle the scenario where the training data set changing over time? For example, the user will move into different age groups after a few years. Excellent question. Okay, so that's going to be a responsive predictive analytics where you rerun the training set over a period of time when there is an accuracy which is bringing down. For example, when you run now, your accuracy is 85%. When you run after 6 months over a period of time, you see there is a trend of decrease in accuracy of the model performance where it comes to 70. Then you have to revisit your model and rerun with the new set of a training data to get the good accuracy. And as well, there are certain situations where you can build the responsive predictive analytics as and when the data comes like a window mode, sliding mode, the new data will be automatically fed to the training set and the model will be generated on runtime. So that is called responsive predictive analytics. I'll guide you how to achieve that during our class. Okay. We can also use shortest path find first algorithm clustering, algorithm C, C++, Java, .NET, ABAP programming, Perl, Python, or any program language is used. Okay, excellent question. Okay, so any programming language, the kind of a programming mechanism, what you mentioned, it's going to be OOP. So we need a kind of a mathematical operations. So all these things is going to be a mathematical operation. We are going to find out and convert the text into mathematical form, and then we are going to apply the kind of a algorithms. To find out the distance, it is not a distance between A minus B. It is a distance of an algorithm, says like Euclidean distance principles, Tanimoto, and various distance principles which statistically proven to identify a distance between 2 points. Okay, so when you want to identify a distance between 2 points, you have to write a huge number of codes with OOPS-oriented programmatic approach. So we need a functional programming, that too when the data set in the form of vectors and matrices. So we need a mechanism to handle those data sets. That's where Mahout comes into the picture with pre-built mathematical conversions and operations, okay, where you can find out the distance very simple with a minimal number of lines of code. Okay, what are the system requirements? How do we connect with HDFS? Okay, so where there will be a VM will be provided which you can have it in your local, and then you can play with those things. Okay, the minimal requirement, minimum you have to have a 4 GB of RAM to work on this. So which will be a virtual machine, you don't need to install anything on your host OS. Same dataset can be grouped in multiple ways. Does Mahout have a mechanism to handle this, how this works? Yes. A grouping can be of any ways. It's not that when you group now, the next moment if you try to group, it will give a different sets of answer. So that's where we have a k-means clustering, canopy clustering, and the threshold level clustering also we can have it. So based on the datasets and the accuracy what we are trying to get from the dataset, we can twin the clustering algorithm, what algorithm we want to use it, then we will apply the appropriate algorithm to meet and to get the accuracy what we want. Okay, what kind of coding knowledge is required as prerequisite? Is it a Java or Python? Java. So pure Java knowledge is required, and where if you are new to Java, you don't worry about it, where there is a pre-recorded essentials which is mainly required for Mahout. What level of Java skills is required? So all these things available in the pre-recorded session videos which is available. Is HBase essential for Mahout, or it can work directly with HDFS? HBase is not required for Mahout. It directly works with HDFS. Will you be sharing the deck after the session? Yes, where you can reach out to the support team. They will be sharing you. Okay. How is machine learning different from data mining? Very good question. So data mining is arriving or digging a kind of a information from the data set what you have. So machine learning is something arriving a kind of a solution based on the learning. So data mining and machine learning is two different wing where the data mining cannot act as a machine learning, because data mining is only finding out the information which is already available in the data set. Machine learning is arriving the detailed hidden informatory level, and as well as making an algorithm to learn and act as its own based on the learning what it did. So data mining is only arriving insights out of it. Other than that, nothing. Okay. By learning Mahout, can we participate? What is it? Kranti? Can you rephrase that? Okay. So you mean participating in the data science competition? Okay. So yes. So what you have to do is like where you have to put your own efforts. Okay. Where the major thing is, like as I said before, there are algorithms which is already available. What difference you are trying to bring out with the algorithm, and you are trying to have your own idea implemented as an algorithm and trying to bring a change with the kind of a process what we follow for recommendation and clustering and classification, and the new dimensions, the way what you get the results, definitely which will lead you to compete and participate in the Kaggle. Okay. What are the skills required for Mahout? So as I said before, the basic Linux knowledge and the Java knowledge is sufficient for you to work with Mahout. What is the program language that is taught part of this course? So as a part of this course, the program language is not a part of it, but the pre-recorded Java sessions which is available as a part of this course. Okay, Bijendra, what is the basic knowledge required? Yes, Java, the pre-recorded sessions which is available. Like we work on RStudio, and for our language is Mahout only compatible with Hadoop framework, or it can be used elsewhere. Mahout can work both with Hadoop as well as with the local mode as well. It can work. Either it can run on the HDFS or without HDFS also it can work. Is machine learning language always mandatory to implement along with big data related solution, or dependent on the business to business? It depends on business to business. It is not always required. It's not mandated. Okay. Who's there? How can we get the real data sets from sites like Amazon, Flipkart, eBay to analyze the data and model the data sets? Okay. There are free stimulated data sets which is available, which you can take it and you can work on it. So there are few data sets which is available with LMS as well, where you can download and work on it. Do we need any kind of a Java coding? Yes, we'll be requiring it. And that's a pre-record is available. How is machine learning different from predictive analytics? Okay, that's what we covered at the beginning of the class, where machine learning is based on the learning based action, and it is based on the past data set it learned on the generation of a data and then act as a replacement for a human being for future incoming data. It is a replacement. It's mainly kind of a stimulating a human brain and making it to work. Predictive analytics is for forecasting based on the past learning. Okay. Can the learning be applied to machine learning on Spark 2? Yes. So all the machine learning algorithm, the algorithm and the concepts are remain same. The way you write the program to achieve will be different with the Spark machine learning. But definitely the knowledge what you're going to get out of this training, you can apply with Spark as well. Okay. R code can be used for clustering. Can R streaming code developed to do clustering using Hadoop? If it can be, then what is the advantage with Mahout? Yes. So even with R, all the clustering, when you do a clustering, you require a group of data sets which you need to have. And R streaming, any streaming programming, it is going to be a huge memory consumption. It is not a native programming. Okay. When two Hindi persons speaks together, it will be more efficient than when you articulate of speaking in Hindi, which is definitely the other person does not understand, which takes a huge time consuming, and as well it is not a native language. Okay, so that's where Mahout is more advantage when compared with the R, because it works with a native map reduce algorithm. And as well, the way R works, when you compare, when you integrate with the Hadoop, it's full of streaming. It's a request and response mechanism where there is a lot of performance issues which is available. So that's the reason Mahout plays a major role. Whenever you have a data which is available in HDFS, the first point is like you will be trying to use Mahout rather than R. Okay. Is web analytics and prediction part of this course project? Prediction, yes. Web analytics, not. Web analytics is more of the social media data sets is what we are going to analyze. Apart from that, no. Okay. Has Mahout got something to do with artificial intelligence? Yes. It's all machine learning. What we are trying to do is a kind of artificial intelligence, but not purely. But you can achieve artificial intelligence with Mahout. Okay. Will .NET knowledge will help me to do this course? Yes. Obviously, when you have a .NET, that to C# background, it's easy for you to work with the Java. With a matter of 30 minutes, you can work with the Java. Okay. Is MATLAB helpful in Mahout? No. The kind of a knowledge how matrix has been handled and vectors has been handled, that kind of a knowledge definitely helps you to understand how Mahout is handling the data sets. R code can be used for clustering API. We have answered this. How to migrate a code developed in dev to QA to production. So migrate is everything is going to be a jar-based mechanism, okay, where you can import the jar from either of this environment and you can move to the other environment. But when you integrate with the production, definitely the endpoint of customer who is facing, okay, will be integrated with the algorithm outcome provided by the Mahout. So that will be the final stage of integration. How will you productionize your Mahout scripts, which we'll be seeing during our class. Fine, Sandeepan, I have answered your queries. Let me know if you have any queries on top of it. Fine, Shiv Prasad. Okay, yes, Aravind. I don't have any programming in C++, .NET, or Java. My effort estimation. So, have you already worked on Hadoop? Aravind? Okay. So then definitely you have to put a lot of effort in working on with the Java program, but not to worry, there is the essentials of Java and Hadoop which is available. That will help you to have a good start. And with your effort, definitely you can get to the point where you want to. Okay. How to do effort estimation? You mean how much effort you have to put to work on Mahout? Vishwanath? So for Mahout, there is a very good market. Okay, that to Mahout with Hadoop combination, it's a very good market which is available. Okay, so you mean how to arrive at effort estimation to derive the man months, right? That's your question. Okay, so for Mahout project, how do we arrive at effort estimation? Okay, so specific to machine learning algorithm, there is no predefined set of rules saying by this month I will complete. It is based on how well you source your data sets, how well your data sets is ready for you to start working on it. Based on that only the effort estimation is decided. And that too, what type of analytics you are trying to do, whether the analytics and algorithm what you're trying to do, which is already available in the market where people are doing, then you are trying to do the similar set of algorithm and outcome on the data sets what you have. So based on that, okay, so you can arrive an effort estimation of data cleansing. The data cleansing and formatting a data, transforming a data to fit into the model is the biggest job. Once you arrive to that stage, it's a matter of an hours for you to apply to the model and get the output. Okay, it mainly depends on data sourcing, how much time you would require to clean the data, and then what type of analysis you want to do on top of the data, what can be done with the data. To do that itself, it takes a lot of time. Almost 1 month you require to do that analysis, and then only you will be working on cleansing of the data, transformation, and converting a data from one form to another, then finally fit into the model. So minimum it takes 4 to 6 months for a project minimum, if you have all the data sets ready. Fine, Vishwanath. If it's a straightforward analytics which already all the companies practice, then you can straightly work on that. Yes, ETL part is the first part which is required before you work on Mahout. Then only the Mahout comes. Straightforward. Okay, ETL part is highly required. ETL part is a time consuming in Mahout. The applying model is not a time consuming. Okay. Okay. As a beginner, how much time I will take to learn? Minimum period. Okay. So within 2 month span of time, definitely you can get to a stage where you feel you are comfortable. Okay. Thank you, Sandeepan. I work on parallel processing in R. Only apart from that, I also do research on processing in R, and only apart from that, okay, machine learning techniques. I did Hadoop course from Edureka. Okay. Can you show as a sample algorithm implementation is Mahout? Yes, definitely we'll be seeing during our class. Okay. Fine, Rajendra. So this will be some of the samples. Just have a look at it. So this for classification. Okay. Sheshad. Okay. So difference between machine learning, data mining, and predictive analytics. Okay. So whether today the rain will come or not. Okay. I have an input sets where it says what is the temperature, what is the cloudy or not, what are the factors in terms of weather situations. Whether we can identify that with the machine learning, data mining, or predictive analytics, which can be identified with the machine learning. As a human being, seeing the conditions of the weather, we can tell it will rain or not. If the same set of input, if I feed to an algorithm which has the past data sets saying if these are the situations, it has rained. Since the new input parameter of current situation, if you feed based on the past learning, it will arrive to a conclusion, it will rain yes or no. It is like a human being. Okay, so that's like a machine learning. Based on the past history set, it learns on its own and predicts, okay, and arrives a kind of a output or classifies whether yes it will rain or not. Data mining is, it's only building a kind of a model to detect what is the patterns of data which is available, okay, and purely depends on what type of data you are giving, and it only inspects the data and gives you an insights of relationships, but it cannot act as a classification mechanism to learn on the past set and act for the future set. It cannot do it. Okay, data mining is mining a data and finding out the hidden information out of it, which is respect to only at that point in time, and it does not reads on its own, and it does not generalize the data and reads on its own, and it does not understands the past it's set and act for the future set. When I say predictive analytics, it's purely a forecasting based on the past set of learnings, where the machine learning only three wings. The machine learning and predictive analytics is totally different. Machine learning, clustering, classification, recommendation, that's all. It does not touch the area of regressions, time series forecasting, all those things. When I say predict the future, predictive analytics, predict for the future based on the past learning, it predicts forecasting. It forecasts what will be the medium of this point in time, what will happen. Okay, it only forecasts. So for example, I have a sale at this point till this point today, daily I make 100 rupees of sales. What will be my predicted forecasting sales for next week based on the what type of sale what you made already. It is not a generalized. What you have already, it learns which is specific to certain factors and then predicts the future. Got it? That clear? Okay. Yes, machine learning is a subset of predictive analytics, but it learns on its own and acts as a replacement for human beings. It avoids the manual work. That's where machine learning. Predictive analytics is not avoids the manual work. Okay, how it derives and reads large data sets. Okay, so that's where we'll be applying the machine learning with MapReduce combination. Fine, Vishwanath. So that already the data sets will be available in a distributed fashion. While it reading applies map and reduce logic. So that we'll see how internally the MapReduce works. which will take care of reading the large data sets. Okay. That's it. So as we are end of this webinar session, so let's wind up. Let me know if you have any questions. So if there is any questions, let me know. So we'll take another 2 questions. Okay. So thanks for joining. So get in touch with the support team, and these are the topics we'll be covering during our course. So machine learning introduction, Mahout, clustering, details of clustering, advanced clustering, classification, recommendation, advanced recommendation, and finally we'll be doing a project. So let me know if any questions is not clear or if it's unanswered. If you don't mind, can you repaste it, please? Okay. Thanks all for joining. Good night.